Do you think they can hear us all now? The whole of Milwaukee and Wisconsin? Yeah! Okay, my name is Willie Soon, and I'm indeed a scientist. And you know, as a scientist, we do have the very, very peculiar bad habit of really working extremely hard, long hours, you know, with little pay, just simply to find truth in any questions, and then we go around telling anyone the truth and nothing but the truth. So my subject today is really about that monster CO2, and we know that monster doesn't exist really, that claim to cause global warming and hell around the globe, and in fact around here in Wisconsin and Milwaukee itself. If you think about it more seriously, this issue of energy would be the biggest issue of all, because energy is ultimately the master resource that makes life possible, that will cover essentially 100% of our economy. By comparison, healthcare only covers 70% of our economy. So let me start by telling you things that really scare me in terms of what I see in the last few years. In fact, it's even more scary than this CO2 monster question. Here is a quote from our House Speaker about a year ago that actually says this. Listen carefully. "I believe in natural gas as a cheap and abundant alternative to fossil fuel." So I guess, knowing who you are, so I'm no longer scared, because, you know, we know what we're going to do to this kind of politician. Although I'm not trying to incite any violence, we just vote. Well, the business of trying to control carbon dioxide and putting a monetary values on carbon emission is extremely deadly and serious. This is the ultimate government tax. In fact, I would propose that if you want to tax carbon emission, we might as well have our government starting to tax our personal income at 100% of level. No more, no less. Then I'd like to see who will be smart enough to go to work the next day. Let me now come back to the point on what I have found in the CO2 monster as the so-called satanic gas for controlling our weather and climate. This is after 20 years of research. You can call me a very slow researcher, essentially 24/7, and I hope you can see I have not slept that many hours in between. Well, here are the 3 take-home points that I want you to take home with. Take-home point number 1. CO2 is not an air pollutant, regardless of what the EPA is saying or even our Supreme Court is saying. It does not change the weather and climate as best as we can measure them. Science is, after all, the business of measurements. Instead, CO2 is really food for plants and marine life. They just simply do not get enough of it. So here's now the real scientific questions on CO2 that you can ask all your congressmen or everyone else. What will you do if you cut CO2 and you are harming all these plants and marine life? Who will then be responsible for the ecosystem disaster that you are causing? And my second point is fairly simple as well. This is with regards to our former Vice President Al Gore's assertion that CO2 causes global warming. But the funny thing is, everywhere we look, it is the level of the atmospheric carbon dioxide appears to be only controlled by temperature and climate variables and other biology and chemical variables, not the other way around like they say, CO2 causes global warming. So for Al Gore, it's really about lung cancer. Basically, lung cancer causes cigarette smoking, so beware of that. Finally, I do want to say that there is no magical CO2 knob in the climate system, like the thermostat in your room that allow you to adjust up or down. So whatever they say, when they try to propose 70% cut of CO2 emission in Wisconsin by 2050, it's a futile exercise, believe me. Let me now finish off by telling you one more story, please allow me. When I was in Oslo, Norway last year, for a scientific conference, I was literally shocked that one can actually drink beer with a straw. And this is for the adult over 21 years old, of course. Well, you may ask why? Why is that? Well, The beer actually in the glass, small little glass, costs $15 because they tax their food and food and drinks at 30% level. So you can say that this is really a little side effect of over-taxation. And I'm really glad when I saw the situation. I said, thank God for America. Thank God that I live in America. And America is indeed the beautiful according to the Chinese character. And it is the greatest nation on earth. No questions about that. I'm now going to go home and tell my two young sons, Benjamin and Franklin, and perhaps their yet unborn children, that I have found 7,000, which is in the court, which is of course the original numbers for the folks that appear in the Boston Tea Party. 7,000 new friends of liberty and prosperity at Milwaukee, Wisconsin today. Thank you.